Well, thanks everybody for being here. Really excited to get the season started off today. I feel it's been a pretty solid off season for us. We have had a couple of injuries. We've had DeQuan Smith, very talented freshman who had a terrific summer for us. Injured his ankle back in early August. Expect to get him back here in the next few weeks. Darnell Cowart, junior college transfer from Cowley County out in Kansas, has missed about the last month with a foot injury. Expect him back any day now. And then Jalen Johnson, our freshman from Hopkinsville, is coming off a knee surgery, is back full go in practice and working his way back in. So really pleased with our group. Leadership is an area I think is going to be extremely important for us, and expect our seniors and Ja Morant to carry the load there. Love to take any questions as we crank it up today.
Any of those injuries you expect to impact the regular season?
I don't expect him to. DeQuan goes back to the doctor here in mid-October. He's on track to be back and ready to go later this month. And Darnell should be any day now back and rolling.
With 6 new players on this year's team, just talk about kind of the atmosphere around the program with these players and how they've kind of interacted with each other through the summer and through the off-season workout program leading up to today.
Well, I'm really pleased with our newcomers. I think all very talented, bring a lot of the qualities and traits we look for in players to our program. I think they fit in very well, surrounded by other good people and our returners, and I think it's meshed well so far. We'll find out a lot more this week as they get stressed a little bit and get pushed here with the adversity of the training camp. So, but I expect contributions from many. Like last season, 4 of our top 8 or 4 of our top 7, I guess, were first-year players in the program, and we're counting on some of these guys to make a similar type impact.
What do you feel you have more of this year than you did have last year? Anything, any area?
I think you returned 4 very good defensive players in Ja, Shaq, Breon Sanchez, and Anthony Smith. So I expect us to continue to lay that foundation, especially this week, of being a very good and consistent defensive team. I think offensively we've got a long way to go there. I think a big thing for us, a big difference, and I hadn't spent a whole lot of time comparing teams, but about this point last year, kind of knew who the top 8 were. There was still some jockeying for position there, but knew who the top 8 were. But with this group, have no idea yet. I think a lot of that's to be determined, and that's why I think this month of October is going to be critical for us in establishing roles, defining roles, and hopefully accepting roles for what our team's going to be moving forward.
Two of those. Go ahead. You're good.
How quickly do you see teams in the past, establish these player roles with so many new guys? Because you've had this situation in the past where you've had new guys come in.
Sure.
How quickly do you normally see that develop?
Well, I think it's been helped by the changes in the rules of college basketball in recent years. Several years ago, we went to where we got 2 hours a week with them in the summertime. That went to 4 hours a week this summer for the first time. I think that helps with the transition from whether it's high school to college or junior college here to D1. So hopefully that will help us in our favor. But I think a big key of it is your returning guys. Do they welcome those newcomers in? Do they show them the culture that your program's about and how we go about conducting business on a day-to-day basis, and then hold each other accountable to those standards? And I think that's going to be a big challenge for us this month.
You've got a lot of depth at shooting guard. So far, has anybody stood out?
Well, I think the competition there has been really good. We don't necessarily have a proven commodity at this level, but we have a lot of talent there with Breon Whitley returning from last season, Shaq Buchanan returning from last season, Tevin Brown having a year in the program as a redshirt, Javion Eves coming in as a second-team junior college All-American, and then DeQuan Smith, once he gets back from injury, his ability to score. So don't know who it's going to be as the starter in the backcourt, That's the beauty of this time of year. You know, guys are fighting and competing every day to establish what their roles will be within the framework of the team.
Go ahead. You're good.
For Anthony and Breon going into the offseason, what were your expectations in terms of development, and what kind of progression have you seen from them?
Well, with Anthony, I thought he really had a solid junior year coming in from junior college. I think the big challenge, and what we've spoken to him a lot, is he ready to make that jump now into a senior year, like a Wayne Langston made, where he was 2 points a game as a junior and then came onto the scene as a senior, all conference type player. The thing about Anthony, he's a relentless worker. His motor is always on full go. He's tough as nails. I mean, you get 7 rebounds in 15 minutes against West Virginia, you got some toughness to you. So I'm excited about the opportunities ahead for him. Breon Sanchez, you saw down the stretch last year, was really the anchor of our defense. He's worked hard this offseason in the weight room, finishing plays around the basket. He's 6'8", 250 pounds, 4 years of experience. Expect him to have a big senior year.
Is there any particular thing you've had Morant work on leading up to this season?
Well, just everything. I think that's the important part, is that we're getting better every day as a player. I think he's a very capable three-point shooter. Watched him many times in high school. Hit 8, 9 threes in a game. So just being consistent there. I think the three-point shooting of Ja and Shaq is going to be critical for us. And I think what you saw last year, both are just winners. They're very unselfish. They knew they had 2 of the best three-point shooters in school history, in Miller and Stark, and they deferred to them a lot to take those shots. But I think you saw in the OVC championship, they combined to hit 5 threes, both very capable. He's gotten stronger. He's added about 10 pounds of muscle, and just want him to be a leader. I think that's the biggest key for your point guard play. Need leadership from him.
It's going to be easy to miss guys like Miller and Stark, and I'm glad you kind of mentioned it. What can you tell us about the development of who's going to take on some of those roles and some of those, just even the statistics?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I think it's a good question. I don't really look at it that way. Every team's different. This team will have its strengths. It'll be a different team from last year. When you talk about Stark and Miller, I mean, what's that, probably 38, 40 points a game. So we'll have to find ways to get that production somewhere. But I think all our focus goes to just this team. How do we make this team the best team we're capable of being? I think you start obviously with Ja Morant at point guard, one of the top guards in the country, and you build around that. And excited about our group. I think you'll see guys start to step forward. We've got guys who can really shoot the ball. They haven't done it out there in front of 7,000 people. And so that's where this challenging non-conference schedule early, we're going to find out a lot about where we're at.
Obviously, Ja had a big summer. What sort of conversations have you guys had just talking about staying focused on this season versus any sort of professional opportunity? Well,
I think a great trait to have in a player or a person for that matter is humility, and he certainly has that. He understands that all the professional opportunities will be there and will happen down the road. He's done a really nice job of just focusing on getting better every single day, improving as a leader, getting stronger in the weight room, continuing to be consistent from three-point range, so on and so forth. I think he'll tell you, and I know you'll probably talk to him later today, his focus is on becoming the best player he can be, the best leader he can be, and helping Murray State be in position to win games this year. And I think that's a credit to him and his family and his and what he's about. So I don't have any concerns there about him worried about what's going to happen down the road. I think his focus is where it needs to be. And I think he's handled everything very well.
Is your out-of-conference schedule everything you would have wanted, or is there something lacking that you see?
No, I was really pleased. Second year in a row, if you include the exhibition, to get to play 17 games here at the CFSB Center, which is great for our players, great for our fans. Would love to try to continue to do that as much as possible. But I think you see a lot of challenges on there. Honestly, I wish it was a little easier early, but you start right off the bat with the defending Horizon tournament champions, Wright State, who will be picked to win the league. I think you have 3 Missouri Valley teams on there. You got the defending Conference USA champions in Middle Tennessee. Alabama will probably be preseason top 25. Auburn, top 10 in the country. So plenty of challenges on there for us, but we're looking forward to it. I mean, I think that's why you come to Murray State. You come to play for championships. You come to play against the best teams in the country.
How have you changed, or have you changed your approach to this season, considering you're coming off of a year where you won the conference, you went to the NCAA tournament, compared to your first couple of years when you're hovering around 500 and you're trying to build towards something? Well, now that you built towards that last year, how have you changed, or have you changed?
Yeah, I hope it hadn't changed. I hope I've gotten better as a coach and better as a leader as we go into the season here. It was a heck of a challenge to get things rebuilt the way I wanted them to be, and it took a year longer than I wanted to, but we finally got there. But just as I shared with last year's team after the season, past disappointments don't guarantee future disappointments. It's the start of a new year. I've told this group the same thing. Past success doesn't guarantee future success. So we got to come to work every day. The thing I'm excited about is the culture's now in place. How we do things on a daily basis is in place. How we work, how unselfish we are, the defensive foundation. All those things are in place. Now we got to build upon them and get everyone bought into their specific roles on this year's team.
You spoke about the defensive identity earlier with some of those guys that are coming back from last year. Without seeing them playing, in practice settings and well before games start, do you have a feeling of what the identity of this year's team is going to be yet, or is this something that's obviously going to develop as time goes through?
No, I think we got a long way to go to work toward that. I know what I want it to be, but it's day one, so I think a lot of that will be determined by how we work over the next 6 weeks as we head into the start of the season, and then we're going to be a work in progress. I don't expect us to be at our best on November 10th, but we got to keep getting better every day, build our team, just stay very focused on that process. And I like our pieces. I really like our team. But as I think we talked about it last time we all got together, I think we're, at this point, talented group of individuals, we got to build these individuals into a team. And that's the fun part of coaching.
Well, what do you want it to be? You said you know what you want it to be, but...
Oh, I think you always start at the defensive end of the floor. You got to be sound at that end of the floor. I think you have to be a very good rebounding team. Offensively, have to be able to execute, take care of the ball. We're very simple in what we do. We just got to be really good at it. And I think, one area of our team last year that didn't get enough credit, we had a very smart team. It was a high basketball IQ. They really made a lot of adjustments on the fly. That comes with experience, and that's why this first 6 weeks of practice is going to be really important for us.
Do you feel like perimeter defense is going to be another strength this season after last year's about 30% for most of the year?
Well, I think that's a key stat, your ability to defend the three-point arc. So I hope it will be. It'll continue to be points of emphasis for us on a daily basis. I think Shaq Buchanan returning is, to me, one of the top defensive players in the league for sure. I think he sets the tone there defensively. Ja Morant had a terrific freshman year defensively, especially on the ball. I want to see him continue to grow there. And, but it's team defense. Everyone's got to do their individual job within the framework of the team for us to have the success that we want to have at that end of the floor.
How do you see your interior play shaping up?
Oh, I'm really excited about it. I think with Breon and Anthony, you bring back some toughness, some experience, and some high basketball IQ. I think with our incoming class of guys, KJ Williams, freshman, comes in at 6'9", 245 pounds. Mike Davis, terrific junior college career. Now he transitions to Division I. Same for Darnell Cowart and on down the line. But it's some unproven guys too. So look forward to seeing who steps forward and establishes themselves as impact players for us.
Breon has added a 15-foot jumper. Does he get the green light when he has that? How's that going to work this year?
Well, we'll see how he does in practice. He's shot it extremely well this summer and fall. He's put a lot of time in the gym. I think, you know, and again, this will probably be the last day we talk about last year, but obviously a big key to that team was our ability to stretch the floor with Terrell Miller's three-point shooting, and I think that opened up a lot for us. So one of those, if not two of those guys, really needs to establish themselves as guys who can step out and shoot it and keep the defense honest.
You talked about guys trying to fill roles on this team. A couple guys that were here last year didn't play a lot of minutes, guys like Brian Whitley and Tevin Brown. Talk about what you expect from those guys this year now that they've got that year under their belt, and they're a little bit more seasoned, obviously, than these newcomers that you have.
I think you'll see them take a big jump. They didn't play last year the roles they may have liked, not because they're not good players, just that top group really established themselves early as the rotation. And so both have worked very hard. Both can really shoot the ball. And talking about Tevin and Breon Whitley, both shoot the ball very well from three. And both have some toughness and understand the defensive system here. So I think that gives them an advantage as they go into their second year in the program.
Obviously, a coach likes to have new wrinkles each season, new set of bed sheets. What are the new wrinkles for you guys this year?
Day one, Ed. I have no idea. We'll see how it all plays out. Nothing really changes from the standpoint of we're going to start at the defensive end of the floor, and we're going to get that foundation in place, build toward the rebounding. Offensively, we've got to establish what our identity is going to be there. As I mentioned earlier, I think you have an elite level player in Ja, and the best thing I can always say about him is he makes everyone around him better. And so I think it's important that we develop our consistency at that end of the floor. And I think that's going to take some time as guys learn what we want to do offensively. Long answer, not the answer.
No, you're good. The reason I asked that is we saw some three-quarter press last year, and that was kind of a newer thing. And you had Shaq up front. I just didn't know if there was anything in particular that you might have like penciled into this season. There we go. That's why I asked that.
If you could also reveal your defensive strategy against your first three opponents.